What's up, guys? Greetings from Houston, Texas. Mike coming at you from Error, Truth, Aspect, and Predictive Astrology. And it's almost Christmas. My birthday is almost a week away, or no, less than a week away, actually. And I'm wearing my Santa costume because my midheaven's in Aquarius, and I don't really give a fuck what you think about me. So today, in our wonderful astrological segment, we'll be covering a very rudimentary topic, but one that can provide you a lot of depth when analyzing various charts, and that is house systems. And, well, Placidus particularly, because I'm a big fan of Placidus, and I'll explain why here in a moment, and house rulers, and how they can give you a depth of information on a person or on a chart in general. So the 12 houses of the natal chart wheel, they represent the 12 areas of life. We can go over what all they mean, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to kind of condense it down. First house is how you affect your environment. The second house is your values, your survival needs, material possessions, anything that you have. The third house is communication, networking on a smaller scale. It's your siblings, it's short distance trips, it's automobiles. The fourth house is where you came from, your family, your heritage, your connection with the mother or the less influential parent, which actually in today's society is generally the father, but it all depends on the individual involved. We have the fifth house, the house of fun, sex, creativity, gambling, risk taking, everything Leo-like, sort of. We have the sixth house, the house of service, of daily routine, of drudgery, of health. We have the seventh house, which is partnerships, both intimate and non-intimate, business partnerships, lawyers, open enemies, legal documents. We got the eighth house, which is sex, death, rebirth, other people's stuff, raw intimacy, shared resources, shared wealth, inheritance, drugs, but like, you know, the uppers, the good shit, stimulants. When we have the ninth house, which is higher learning, expansion of the consciousness, philosophy, long distance travel, other cultures, everything outside your neighborhood, basically. The 10th house, how you impact the world as a whole, public image, your career, your life's direction. We have the 11th house, your hopes and dreams, the collective conscious, ideas for the future, social issues, networking, the internet, in a broad scope. The internet's also a little bit in the third house too, but it just depends on how you're using it. Then we have the 12th house, which is endings, hidden enemies, hidden addictions, seclusion, isolation, imprisonment, hospitals, mental asylums, spirituality, the collective unconscious, compassion, spirituality, in a more ethereal, hard to define way. Okay, so yeah, we got the 12 houses, and they identify the 12 different areas of life. And every single one of them has a place in your life. Even if you have empty houses, that area of your life is going to be expressed in one way or another via the house ruler. So when you pull up your chart on astro.com and you draw, you know, your little stuff out, and it shows you where the ascendant falls and the descendant, midhaven, the IC, and then those set up where the cusp for the rest of the houses are going to go. You're getting a look at how your life shows up in different areas of the chart, or how those different areas of life show up, you know, in your life. And you need to understand the concept of the house ruler to show how that area of life is brought out, usually via another area of life. It kind of, you have to understand like the interconnectivity of all things. So you want to see where the chart ruler's at. The chart ruler is the ruler of the first house. It's the ruler of the ascendant. And it has a lot to do with your physical appearance, your body, and it's more than just the sign. Like, for instance, my chart ruler is Mercury because my ascendant falls in Gemini. And when you take that into account, you find out where Mercury's placed. So the chart ruler, the ruler of my first house, falls at the other end of the circle in the 7th house. So matters of the 7th house influence or serve the needs of the first house. So I find my identity, I find my sense of me, my image to myself and the people in my immediate surroundings through partnerships. It can create a lot of vacillation with that particular placement, But generally, you're looking to mirror yourself through another individual. And it goes more deeper than that, but that's just, the base interpretation of that placement. So you look at where the cusp of each house falls, and you find out what house it falls in. So let's say you want to find out how to make money in your life, or what area of life you need to focus on to make money. Look at where the cusp of the second house falls. So let's say the cusp of the second house in your chart falls in Cancer. That would make the house ruler of the second house the moon. And if the moon is, like, say, falling in the fifth house, so that means areas related or things related to the fifth house serve the needs of the second house. Get it? Get it? Good. Okay, so basically anything that you do related to fifth house activities will bring you money. So anything, gambling or business ventures, risky ventures, anything that allows you to express your creativity and your individuality and to express yourself fully, that can bring you money. My second house ruler falls in the third house. So through talking and communicating and networking, I can make money. And it goes a little bit deeper than that, but that's just, it's just how that works. I don't know. I don't even know really. I do know how to explain it, but unless you want me to make this video like 45 minutes long, that's just how I'm going to have to do it. You look at the ruler of the seventh house and find out what house that falls in. And so let's say like the ruler of your seventh house falls in, I don't know, the eighth house. So matters related to the eighth house, which is just like that raw, passionate, like, I can't live without you sex. And that real deep intimacy serves the motives of the seventh house. So that's a person who's going to be built towards having incredibly intense and emotionally stimulating, not always in the good way, relationships. So house rulership is really important because every single house is influential in your life. It's just some people, whenever they look at their chart, they'll see a really heavy emphasis on one house. They'll have a bunch of planets piled into one house, and they'll get this idea that the other areas of life then don't really take as much importance. And that's not true at all. It's more of that house is the key, that the house where all those planets are deposited, all those rulers are deposited, are like the key to unlocking the other houses. Because, I mean, we're always going to have all those areas of our life influential in some way in different areas. It's just we have different routes to get, to access that part of our life. You look at where the ruler of the 10th house falls to figure out, what kind of career or what area of life you should focus on that can deliver you the most fulfilling career, or that can help you serve your life purpose. And on top of that, in terms of using house systems, I'm going to get a lot of blowback on this, but I don't like whole house, and I don't like whole sign. I only use Placidus. And a lot of people that live in a very high longitudes, or no, yeah, live very far north or very far south, it really skews their chart whenever they check out like where the IC-MC axis falls. Because if you're living very like, normally the chart should look like this, where the angles are at. But if you live really far north, then it's gonna really kind of make it like that. Like you'll have the MC way, or the IC or the MC way close to the descendant, and it can create some like a huge 12th house. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the larger 12th house is more important. You're just generally, what, in my opinion, you're just having one planet that's ruling multiple houses. So it's really not that much of an issue. I also don't use intercepted houses. I don't even take it into account. I refuse to take it into account because I have intercepted houses in my chart that are still like those signs are still fully in play. So like technically, I guess Scorpio and Taurus are very much intercepted in my chart. I actually embody those signs very closely. Like I'm very Scorpionic. Also, I have my North Node in the 8th house, South Node in the 2nd house. So I mean, that really contradicts from my own personal experience, even needing to use intercepted houses. I think that just convolutes the whole process of analyzing somebody's natal chart, because at the end of the day, we actually embody a little bit of each sign in our personality, just in varying levels and in different areas of life. So Anyway, uh, I hope that was helpful. I know it might have been a little bit rushed, but using actually no, I forgot to mention. So the chart ruler and the house rulers are also very important in predictive astrology. The solar return or the lunar return. You look at where or what's ruling that particular chart. So, like, say I have a solar return with my ascendant falling in Sagittarius. That would make the solar returns chart ruler Jupiter, and that would you as an individual in relation to what's going on in the predictive aspects of that chart are represented as the individual by the ruling planet. So you can also take that into account whenever you're, and I can go a little bit more deep into it, but I will whenever I do my video on solar and lunar returns. You are represented as an individual by the chart ruler and whatever house it falls in. And the aspects made to that planet are circumstances and other individuals that are going to be affecting you during the course of that solar return or lunar return. So that's always important to keep in mind. So anyway, I do hope this was helpful. I do offer consultations. Just feel free to get a hold of me on my Facebook profile, Dennis Michael Ward. And until next time, guys, appreciate you.